What's going on, everyone? It's been a while. Sorry I have been a bit absent from YouTube lately, but as you guys know, got a lot of family stuff going on. But either way, I'm back today with a sit-down video. I haven't done one of these in a while. So today I want to talk about whether or not eating meat is better than eating plants for building muscle. So I've heard so many times people coming to me saying, hey John, I love what you're doing. I love that you're trying to promote a vegan message. But the fact is that everyone in my gym that looks jacked and has an impressive amount of muscles eat a lot of meat. So that tells me that eating meat should be more beneficial than going vegan, as I've never seen a jacked vegan before in real life. I get tons of these messages, and it's completely right that most people that have muscles, that are well built, do eat meat and animal products. So one of the reasons why that might be is simply because there are like 200 times more meat eaters than vegans on the planet. Meeting a vegan in real life is as rare as, seeing a unicorn. So, I understand that it seems like it's impossible because you don't have real life examples. If you live in California or London, you probably know a couple of vegans that go to the gym and have an impressive physique. So other reasons that people might think that eating meat is better for building muscle is protein. So you guys have already seen the channel, you guys know what I'm all about. I'm obviously not protein deficient, but people are still worried about that. People think that plants do not have enough protein for you to be able to build muscle efficiently or optimally, and that meat just is a lot better for those purposes because it's a lot higher in protein than plants. Now, that is absolutely true. Meat is higher in protein than plants are, but that doesn't mean that you can't get the same amount if you wanted to, from plants. Related to protein, there's a lot of people also throwing out the amino acid leucine as, the amino acid that is responsible for all muscle gains. And everyone knows that, meat, dairy, and eggs are high in leucine, and therefore meat, dairy, and eggs are better for muscle building than plants because plants have very low amounts of leucine. Now, if you do a simple Google search, you'll find that that is not true because soybeans, for example, are one of the foods with the highest amounts of leucine pound for pound, even higher than beef. And if you think about more compacted soybean products like tofu or tempeh, they have even more leucine, so they'll probably be at the very top, like number one. And soybeans aren't the only source of leucine on a plant-based diet. Any legume, like any type of bean or lentils, have leucine, and pumpkin seeds, any kinds of seeds also have a lot of leucine, and nuts as well. The next thing I hear a lot of people say is, okay, fine, I guess some plants have leucine and protein, but that protein is not bioavailable like animal products are. It's not going to be absorbed into your body, and therefore you can't build muscles on plants. It is true that some animal proteins are better absorbed into our bodies than some other plants, but people think that it makes a huge difference, and it really doesn't. We just have to remember that most of the protein that we're consuming is going to waste. Imagine if every single gram of protein that we ate converted into muscle, we would be able to build 10 pounds of lean muscle a week. So obviously that is not the case. Your body only absorbs a minuscule amount of protein that you're eating every single day. So yes, it is more bioavailable for the most part, but even if animal protein was better than all plant proteins in terms of bioavailability and absorption, it still would only make a very slight difference that you can make up by eating a couple extra beans or something. You can't actually get all the protein that you need from real food like beans, grains, and tofu, tempeh, that kind of stuff. You can get more than enough. Meat does have more protein than plants, pound for pound, so you could say that it's easier because of that to get enough protein to build muscle eating meat than eating plants. And that is the case if you don't know which plants are high in protein. If you're just consuming fruits all day and snacking on carrots, it's not going to work. So yeah, the meat diet will work a lot better than the carrot diet. But obviously, if you have done research, if you know what plants and what whole foods have a lot of protein in them, it's a no-brainer. Like, I don't think about eating protein at all. Like, I don't have to, count my macros or worry about protein and which foods have them, because I know that protein is abundant in the plant world, and it's never been a problem to get enough protein for me. Now, a lot of people that have made the transition from meat-based bodybuilding into vegan bodybuilding, have seen dramatic improvements in recovery. That is one of the things that I noticed the most. I was able to increase my training volume, and you know, I was able to recover a lot faster and push more weights. So I remember my strength increasing a lot. And I'm definitely not the only one. Like, there are so many athletes, you know, triathletes and runners and endurance athletes as well, who say the same thing. Meat, unfortunately, does cause inflammation or promote inflammation. So eating meat doesn't mean that you have chronic inflammation, but it definitely, you know, increases the likelihood of your body being slightly inflamed. And inflammation does affect your recovery a lot. And as we all know, recovery is where all the gains are made. It's where progress is made. It's not the training, but it's how you recover from that training. And if your body's inflamed, you know, your body's gonna have a hard time replenishing the muscles with oxygen and clearing out the waste products that, you know, your body doesn't need. Dairy causes inflammation. Processed meats are super inflammatory. Refined sugar, so table sugar, candies and that kind of stuff. Refined oils, refined flour, and processed foods packed with trans fats, those also cause inflammation in our body. So that is why we need to stick to whole foods as much as possible and avoid you know, this flexible dieting thing where you're just consuming sugar and oils as long as it fits your macros, because we got to remember everything that is happening inside our system that we can't see. That is going to be a lot more important than, you know, just some random macro numbers. Some of you guys are probably sitting there right now saying, John, that's a nice speech, but where's the scientific proof and where's the evidence showing that vegans can build as much muscle as meat eaters and that plant protein is as good as animal protein? So there are no big, good quality studies made comparing animal protein to plant protein in terms of optimal muscle building. Unfortunately, I would love to have that, because there are so many people who are very skeptical until they actually see the evidence and the scientific data behind it. So I understand the skepticism, but you know, we do have tons of anecdotal evidence. Like me, for example, as personal experience, I have been vegan for 3.5 years now, and I've put on a lot of muscle mass in that time. And this is obviously natural, steroid free. Also something else that a lot of people say, that you need steroids to build muscle on plants. Definitely not the case. And there are so many other examples out there of people who have you know, transitioned into a plant-based diet and continued to make gains you know, as fast or even faster than before. You know, you have people like Nimai Delgado, who's a friend of mine who's never eaten meat in his entire life, and he has built an amazing physique, and most of his gains were while eating plants, and he is competing with the top of the world in the men's physique category. So very impressive stuff there. Then we have other, you know, professional bodybuilders like Misha, who, you know, was bodybuilding and competing for years on a heavy meat diet. He did also notice increased recovery time, and his competition prep or preparation was the easiest he's ever done, because of how satisfied and satiated he was during you know, the cutting phase for the competition. And he looked the best that he's ever looked. And since then, he's also been able to put on more muscle mass. And everyone that I'm mentioning, by the way, will be linked in the description box, so feel free to go follow them and tell them that I sent you. So Leroy is one of them, and he has an impressive physique, one of the most aesthetic physiques that I've seen on a young guy. And you know, he's killing it. He's built so much muscle on a plant-based diet. And the other guy that I know from the Netherlands is called Puru, and he has built a fantastic, super aesthetic, super shredded physique, and he's been doing so well. He's started competing and he's winning shows like crazy on a vegan diet. He's noticed so many changes and improvements to his physique, lean muscle gains, and more shreds than ever before. He's really into whole foods and eating as clean as possible. It's pretty inspiring. There's even this kid from Hong Kong that I found on social media recently called Hin Chui. I hope I said that right, but he is a super young kid who is a vegan bodybuilder from Hong Kong, and he is competing all over the world and winning every single show. It's really cool to see. So shout out to him. Link in the description box if you want to support him as well. But I already know what you guys are saying, and I understand you're probably thinking, hey, that's all cool, John, but these guys are nowhere near the size of Phil Heath and Kai Green. The Mr. Olympias of the world are 5 times as big, and they eat a ton of meat. So there you go. That's more than enough proof for me. Goodbye. I'm gonna have my bacon. Now I know that you guys, my meat eating you know, followers and audience, are not like that. I love you guys. I'm just joking. You are 100% right. These guys that I showed, and you know, myself, we are not as big as, you know, those Mr. Olympias. And I think it comes, you know, down to, you know, what I said in the beginning. There are not, you know, that many vegans in the world in the first place, not to mention vegan bodybuilders. But I guarantee, and I'm 100% confident that, you know, let's say Phil Heath or any Mr. Olympia decided to go on a vegan diet and, you know, still eat the same amount of protein, same amount of everything else, there would be absolutely no difference. And I think also it comes down to vegans being more health conscious, and, you know, they also try promoting a, you know, healthy whole food plant-based diet, not just, you know, eating as much calories as possible and getting as massive as possible and taking a bunch of steroids and insulin and growth hormone and whatever these bodybuilders are taking. The guys that I showed are physiques that I believe are 100% attainable naturally with the right genetics, you know, with the right amount of effort and the right diet. So not everyone is going to be able to achieve that. You know, it's a very, very genetic game, bodybuilding is. So it doesn't mean that you can, you know, look like Nimai Delgado or even look like me. But I do know that at some point, as, you know, veganism grows and more people go plant-based, someone who wants to be at the Olympia stage, you know, will try a plant-based diet out and will find all these benefits and be the first, you know, massive, you know, bodybuilding monster that is vegan. So that will happen. It's just a matter of time. It really comes down to personal choice, whichever one you want to go for. I obviously recommend a plant-based diet, and for me, it's not even about all the amazing health benefits and less inflammation and better recovery. For me, I think it's, you know, the fulfillment that I get of knowing that, you know, my diet, eating plants, has such a big impact on everything else, you know, apart from me, knowing that I'm doing such a good thing for the environment. Like, for example, I'm gonna get my phone up because I don't know those numbers by heart. Just in a year, I save 400,000 gallons of water, and this is just in comparison to a standard American diet. Like, people who are into fitness and bodybuilding, who are eating a lot more meat and animal products, yeah, the numbers would be a lot higher. 15,000 pounds of grain each year as well. The grains are fed to the animals. That is why, you know, it's that high of a number. 7,000 pounds of CO2. CO2 is a gas. Like, it doesn't weigh anything. So 7,000 pounds of gas for one person per year. That is a pretty scary number, to be honest. And of course, the most obvious one, since you're not eating animals, you're saving about one animal's life each day. And you might be thinking, hey, I don't eat one animal a day. Are you crazy? I'm not eating a cow per day. And I understand that, you know, it's just a rough estimate. But just think about this for a minute. Western countries, the rich countries that most of you guys are from, we're eating the most meat on the planet and the most animals. And the whole world slaughters, I think it was 60 billion land animals per year. That does not include fish and seafood. That would be, I don't even want to guess the number. It's probably like, I don't know, 200 billion or 300 billion or whatever. But imagine that number, like, we're 7 billion people on the planet when we could have just, you know, fed the world and tried at least to solve world hunger by eating the source and eating the grains instead of, you know, this nonsense. But that's just my personal opinion. That is what gives me satisfaction. That is what gives me fulfillment. There's so many, you know, benefits to eating this way. And at the end of the day, I'm not losing gains. I'm not, you know, limiting myself in any way. I don't think about being vegan. I don't think about eating plants. It's not a chore. It's, you know, automatic. It's just difficult in the first couple of weeks, and then you get used to it and you get the hang of it. You feel amazing and you never want to go back. So give it a try if you want to. I recommend it. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already, and make sure to hit the notification bell so you're up to date and get notified when my next video comes out. I'm gonna try to upload more frequently. Leave me a comment, let me know what you thought of this video. Let me know if you agree, let me know if you disagree. So yeah, thank you once again, and I'll see you very soon. Peace out.